Welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at a pretty strange kind of test today. It's not a test of traditional intelligence, or how many degrees you have, or how successful you are. Instead, it asks something much deeper and, frankly, a little bit unsettling. It asks, how far can you think inside the minds of other people? And, maybe just as importantly, how far do you believe they can think inside yours? This is the hidden power of what game theorists call the 2/3 of the average game. It's an absolute puzzle that acts as a brilliant mirror for human thought and the invisible architecture of our collective behavior.
Okay, let's dive into this. I actually want you to play along with me right now. Seriously, just in your head, pick a number between 0 and 100. Go ahead, lock it in. At first glance, this feels like a totally harmless puzzle, right? Almost like a party trick you'd play with a group of friends, where everyone just shouts out a number.
But here's the deceptively simple rule that kind of changes everything. The winning number is the one closest to 2/3 of the average of all the guesses in the room. The moment you truly wrap your head around that rule, this entirely stops being a game about numbers. It isn't just an arithmetic test. It becomes this massive psychological storm, measuring how people reason, how they predict one another, and how human beings literally never think in isolation. We think in layers. Section 1, the mechanical drop.
To understand how this works, let's look at the cold, elegant, mathematical logic of the game. Let's see what happens when perfect rationality just takes over. The beauty of this begins with a metaphor of a dropping ceiling. Imagine everyone in the room guessed the absolute maximum, 100. The average would be 100, and 2/3 of that is about 66.7. Because of that, no totally rational player should ever guess above 67, right? But watch what happens next. Once that thought enters the room, the ceiling drops. If absolutely no one is guessing above 67, well, then the new highest possible average is 67, and 2/3 of that is roughly 44.7. So now no rational player should guess above 44, and the ceiling drops again and again. The highest possible winning answer continuously falls. If you keep following this rhythmic, inevitable logic far enough, this infinite staircase collapses all the way down to 0. In a world where everyone is perfectly logical, where everyone knows everyone else is perfectly logical, and everyone knows that everyone knows, the game collapses to 0. This actually represents an academic concept known as a Nash equilibrium. It's basically a perfect analytical trap. It's a strategic resting point where no individual can do better by moving alone. If everyone guesses 0, nobody can improve their standing by changing their guess unilaterally. In pure theory, built on infinite common knowledge, the logic of the system settles perfectly at 0.
Section 2, the twist of reality. Now here's where we pivot sharply away from the blackboard theory and get into the messy, fascinating reality of actual human behavior. Remember, pure mechanical math absolutely dictates that the winning guess should be exactly 0. If we were all robots perfectly programmed to maximize logic, we would all just write down 0, tie the game, and go home. But here's the twist. We aren't robots. In the real world, human guesses do not go to 0. When large groups of actual people play this game, the winning number usually clusters somewhere right in the middle, typically around 20, 30, or 35. It varies slightly depending on the audience, but it is literally never 0. And this proves something incredible. People just do not fully trust that the rest of the room is perfectly rational. Section 3, the social X-ray. Now, what's really interesting about this is how this exact gap between 0 and reality turns the game into a social X-ray measuring reasoning about reasoning. Let's break down exactly how this mental recursion works using what researchers call K-level reasoning. This measures how many steps of mental recursion a person actually takes. Look at level 0. A person here doesn't think recursively at all. They guess naively or randomly, usually picking a number right in the middle, like 50. Now, step up to level 1. A level 1 thinker assumes everyone else in the room is at level 0. So if they think the average will be 50, they choose 2/3 of that, which is 33. But what if you're a level 2 thinker? Well, you assume everyone else is level 1. You assume they'll guess 33, so you would just downward again to 22. While theory marches steadily to 0, human reality tells us that most people usually stop after 1 or 2 mental steps. Section 4, the macro world. So why does all this matter beyond being a fun parlor trick? Because this microgame perfectly models modern civilization and the invisible architecture of collective behavior across the US, Canada, Europe, everywhere. We live inside a society of smart people who are constantly guessing one another. Let's compare 2 real-world scenarios. In the stock market, a price isn't just today's earnings. It's a collective belief about what other investors think those earnings mean. An investor estimating crowd beliefs is playing this exact game.
It's the same dynamic in sports, like a penalty kick. The shooter is guessing the goalkeeper's expectation, while the goalkeeper is guessing the shooter's guess. In both scenarios, you're competing over an invisible structure of expectation. You are literally modeling the other side's model. This explains so much about the world we live in, because social reality is completely layered. Things like confidence, fear, and imitation spread so much faster than pure logic. This is why markets overshoot and why cultural trends just explode out of nowhere. What seems rational at the first layer might be completely irrational at the second. What seems like a winning strategy in isolation completely fails the second it becomes common knowledge. We aren't just making decisions in life, we're making them in the presence of other minds.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really powerful quote from our source material. It is a lesson in humility disguised as a math problem. Winning in the real world isn't about calculating all the way down to zero. The most effective people in life aren't necessarily the ones who calculate the farthest mathematically. Instead, they're the ones who understand exactly where others stop calculating. The gap between theory and reality tells us everything we need to know. Human beings aren't purely mechanical, and we definitely aren't purely random. We exist in this fascinating space right in between. We are improvisational minds. We infer, we anticipate, we hedge our bets, we constantly second-guess ourselves and each other. We are forever trying to guess the shape of the world inside other people's heads. The room isn't just made of isolated people, it's a room full of minds watching minds.
Which brings us right back to you and the number you picked at the very beginning of this explainer. This game isn't merely asking for the closest number. It asks you to reflect on how you operate in a world built on expectations about expectations. Are you the sort of person who stops at the obvious, or do you step one layer deeper, then another, recognizing that the human mind can chase itself forever? So I'll leave you with this. What kind of mind do you have?